I'm starting this.
The Wade and Carter Show is a paid programming, and KHMC Media Only assumes no responsibility for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears no responsibility for their opinions and guests on their show.
Dak signed, mask or no mask. We'll talk coronavirus, shooting in Seattle, and a whole lot more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
That's really good. That's really good when you do that.
Thank you. Hey, how are you?
Good. Good morning to you, sir.
What's happening?
Just a little post-Father's Day reflective deal. We can talk about Father's Day today.
Let's do this.
Yeah. 79 degrees in Victoria, Texas, which, by the way, I think is the hottest morning we've had in certainly months, maybe this year.
Probably
79 degrees right now, heading to a high day of 96 under cloudy skies. So partly cloudy, mostly sunny, I call it. I think of sun as being better than clouds.
I do too.
So I say that we're mostly sunny, not partly cloudy.
That's a nice positive outlook on it.
Right. I don't like to get preachy, but most of our days, most of our days are what we make them. Yeah. And I know you agree with that. It's what we make of it that make. What are you looking at?
I didn't realize until standing next. No, I didn't realize until standing next to you that our shades of green are the same.
Okay. Today's all-inclusive LGBTQ Day brought to you by Ash Wade, studying fashion among men.
And they're both from Mexico.
Yes.
Odds.
I can't wait to go back to Mexico. And I've decided that I don't need the government telling me when I can and can't travel. Southwest Airlines is willing to go. If I can fly from here to Denver, why can't I fly from here to Cabo San Lucas? They're not getting off the plane down there anyway. They leave 30 minutes after they get there. So my point is, I'm still going to wash my hands. I'm still not going to touch my face. I don't need the government protecting me. Folks, we all know about this pandemic. The numbers are skyrocketing, although the death toll is lower than the flu. I mean, it just plummets. That nobody's dying anymore. It doesn't seem like 227 deaths over the weekend, and the numbers have just gone. It's a tsunami.
It's almost so. I think
wave.
The Washington Post has taken the death toll off its front page. I mean, what would the reason for that be?
They're just trying to support President Trump.
Yeah,
they finally had an empathy moment.
Yeah, because Bezos and him are such good buddies.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, the media pretty much ignored coronavirus for the last 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, and whatever happened to the murder hornets? You remember that? Because that was going to be Trump's fault. I don't know what happened to the murder hornets.
I don't know.
I guess they just got friendly.
Remember they were going to contact trace the murder hornets?
Yes. They got here and they got friendly.
Bobby Leister checking in. Good morning. Natalie Mayer, Jeremy Pena, C.W. Bean, Marvin Mickish, H.R. Mallory, Matt Boucher, 65 YouTube subscribers.
Blowing up the second wave of subscribers. I had
coincides with summer arriving over the weekend.
Donnie's had me working out, and I had my elbow. I've told you this, that I was having like a tendonitis issue, that bursitis, some old man itis. It was an old man itis, and my elbow was killing me. Hi, Matt Boucher, and my mother gave me some stuff, and you know that it's really strong when it says topical for external use only,
Don't rub your eyes.
1%. It was 1% heroin.
Yeah.
You know? And it's in a tube, and I put this stuff on my elbow, and I'm not. It's like Kramer Jeez. It kind of had a funk to it. I put it on there. My elbow's cured now. My elbow was stiff and erect for 4 hours straight last night. I couldn't get it to go down. But other than that, it doesn't hurt at all.
Wasn't Absorbine Jr.,
I was
was it?
going to say, elbows that are erect for more than 4 hours should probably be seen.
You
by
walked
a
around like this
physician.
all day.
Yeah, well, no, but not like that. You
No.
can't. You can't do that. But you've got to keep your elbow. You've got to have flexibility in that elbow. You can't do that. So David Glass, there's Uncle Norm. Good morning, sir. So Norm gives us a heavy rain in Frisco.
Good, you can have it.
He came in all caps like he's screaming because he always plays golf on Monday.
He's mad.
But having Uncle Norm come in brings us to Dak Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott signs $31 million and change.
I chuckled a little bit because everybody was calling him an idiot for signing for 31 and when he could have signed for 35. And the thing is, it was just rumors. There was no confirmation that he was offered 35, so we don't know.
And it might have been 35 for 4 years. I mean, each year for 4 years, and he may have turned that down. I doubt Jerry Jones offered him 35 for 1 year. Why would he do that when he can have him for 31, which is just the cap space? It's just what's determined by being the franchise quarterback. Dak, no doubt. If anybody's worth $30 million, Dak's probably there. He's been a 4-year starter for the Cowboys, and last year played for $3 million and change. And I promise you, Jerry Jones made more than $3 million and change
Selling
off
his
jerseys last year. So Dak has been free meat for the Cowboys. And the NFL is set up systemically to do this because the average career is maybe 5 or 6 seasons, at best 6. And Dak's already played 4. He hadn't cost him $30 million yet, and he's made him a ton more.
Well, but there's a caveat there. The average career for quarterbacks who barely win more than 500 or 50% of their games,
It's even less, isn't it?
no, it tends to be longer.
Well, what's scary is
You'll have a good career as a backup for a long time in the NFL if you're average, but you're a good guy and you don't rock the boat.
yeah, he is a good guy.
Kellen Moore.
He's been a good face of the Cowboys.
Think of all the retreads the Cowboys have brought in as a backup to Romo, Dak over the years. Guys that didn't do anything as a Cowboys fan, every single season, we sat there going, God, I hope our starter doesn't get hurt, regardless of who it is,
No, that's
right?
right. That's right.
And there were a couple of years before Romo established himself that we were, God, I hope the starter gets hurt.
Right. But you had the backups out there with a Walker.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had terrible backups. It was got to a point where you were kind of hoping Jason Garrett would activate himself because that might have been a better shot at winning than some of the crap they've had
no doubt.
holding clipboards on the sideline and relaying signals. And I don't know that it's any better, but for Dak, he had to sign. So it was no surprise.
He was out of contract, and if he would have got hurt working out, he had no recourse.
But here's the thing, and I'm still not 100% convinced that Jerry Jones thinks Dak is the guy
I agree.
to get him for the next 8 to 10 years, 6
100%.
to 10, given the lifespan of quarterbacks. But Dak could go 8-8 this year, throw
3,000.
25 touchdowns and 29 interceptions. And 3,000 yards, and somebody will come in and offer him $45 million a year for the next 3 years.
Because their system is better. Because their quarterback coach sees something in him that he can fix. He certainly has.
No, because owners throw stupid money at players to players in positions at times, rather than players who actually have shown they have the ability.
Don Crickey was on another program this morning as I was driving in. And Don Crickey's been an announcer forever.
I got a chance to meet him a few years ago. Great guy.
Yeah.
We reminisced about the Canadian Football League because he used to call when NBC had the Canadian Football League on in the 80s. He was the announcer for NBC for the CFL.
He's definitely been in the big leagues of announcing for a long time. And he made the comment, He goes, Jerry Jones would pay $50 million a year for a quarterback gladly that he was convinced could take him to the promised land. The fact that he's not breaking the bank for Dak tells you that Jerry Jones isn't convinced that Dak is the guy. And that's people have gotten caught up in pay the man. He's as good as you're going to get. But is he? I mean, Cam Newton is a quarterback without a home right now. I'm not sure that – don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's better than Dak, although he might be better than Dak right now. I'd like to be the coach that got Cam Newton coming in with a chip on his shoulder, ready to show that he can still play.
Because it certainly worked at Auburn. It certainly worked when he first got into the league with Carolina.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He was a great one.
He might have
a laptop every now and then or something, whatever he did.
Might have a good year this year. But I still think until the Cowboys solidify their secondary and that to me is still the problem.
Isn't CeeDee Lamb going to be the guy? He's the guy, right? Is it Lamb or is it Land like?
No, I think it's Lamb, right?
Like I see
Isn't he a
miles
receiver?
and miles of Texas.
I'll say this. I'm somewhat excited with Mike McCarthy as head coach because I sort of see
tendencies.
The defense
building
around Van Der Esch, like Green Bay did with AJ Hawk.
Mr. Excitement has entered the building.
Yeah. So
AJ Hawk from Ohio State. Oh, he was painful.
Good good linebacker.
Yeah.
And who's the other one there? The guy with the long blonde hair that they sort of built around as well.
Aquaman?
Yes.
That guy. Yeah, what was that guy's name?
But they built a defense around linebackers that were agile, could tackle, flew to the football.
Sounds like the Pittsburgh Steelers of the Steel Curtain days.
Yeah. And maybe
Lambert.
If Sean Lee can stay healthy.
He can't.
No.
I think Sean Lee has a little bit of Billy Bates in him. He's an overachiever, and he just has to play all out in order to do it. Let's do a little roll call and see who's here. There's Bob Constantine.
Callie Frommy's checking in. Stephen
morning.
Kidder, I know, is in. Steve Tyler, Brent Anderson, Mike Bloschke, Scott Snow, Patrick Strauss, Will Vincent. Good morning. Judge Posey.
Good morning, Judge.
Rob Pupy, Joe Mitchell, Karen Webb, Johnny Houghton checking in. Lisa Poole, Byron Burris.
Byron Burris, it's not a HIPAA violation to talk about somebody's house, is it?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Byron Burris is building a palapa. And I mean, Ash, Ash and I have a real Mexico affinity. And this is a real palapa. Like, I'm talking about, no kidding, guys with chain, and they're putting the wood together and strapping it. Yeah, for real. A real palapa in his backyard. Very excited. But you know who's involved in that?
Who?
Mike Bloschke.
Nice.
Yeah, very excited for him. So,
Joe Mitchell, we're going to get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see who else is in this morning. The Iceman is in.
Joe Mitchell, chew on this. How about Webb Simpson yesterday? Birdies 5 of the last 7 holes to win the RBC. That ain't bad.
Not bad at all.
You birdie 5 of the last 7 to go ahead and clip a guy named Answer. That's pretty good. And they named a putter after his granddad. Yeah. So 5 out of 7 is pretty good golf. There's Rena Shear. Good morning, ma'am.
Jamie Zeller, Adam Daughtry.
I saw Jamie Zeller yesterday. I went on my Dawn Nicole T-Lab. Went out there. The battery on the Blazer had gone kaput. I told you this. I was upset. I went outside in a fit of rage, took everything off.
Crying.
Yeah, very devastated. Took everything off the battery except the 2 leads that go to the engine itself. So charged the battery.
Hard to start it without those.
Well, right. So I got the thing. It was cranking and cranking and cranking, but it wasn't getting any fire. And Dawn comes out. And she's looking at it. And she's following conduit, and she says, look, there's a flux capacitor over there with some Spitzer valves and some ball bearings, and she puts 2 wires back on the battery that charges the coil and fired right up. So we went on an evening cruise in the truck that hasn't
Nice.
been inspected since 2014. And we drove by and we happened to catch the Zellers coming home from somewhere. And we got to say hi to Ben, Jamie, the girls, and little Benjamin.
I passed Ben on the way into the show this morning, so he's already up and
He works hard, man. It's a
getting
tough,
at it.
it's a tough gig.
Ron Koshin checking in. Joe Mitchell, Kyle Dalton, Rena Scherer. Who else is in?
My mom, good morning,
Your
man.
mom is in. Your dad.
Did you see last week when mom had that Tourette's moment and then typed all those?
What happened with that?
She,
Did we ever
you know,
find
she
out?
completely denied any knowledge of that.
Travis Gunlock, Erica Alex. I will say this: you wrote an absolutely touching and beautiful tribute to your dad
Well,
yesterday.
thank
And it was
easy
very
to do.
nice.
It didn't really grab me till the end. I'm not a fatalistic person, but I'm a realistic person. And I mean, my dad would be the one to tell you this could be Dad's last Father's Day.
Clay
you know?
Matthews, that's the guy with the long hair.
And
Thank
he gets it, and he's like, okay, it's been a good run, but it's emotional stuff. Every day's Father's Day for him, though. We try to love on him every day.
Good. Chris Conrad, yeah, this one was probably harder than some. I mean, I called my dad. He's deaf. He can't hear me, so I yell at him, and he answers questions that I didn't ask him.
How are you, Dad? The flowers are blooming. Yeah, I know this conversation.
Yeah. And we laugh about it and stuff. And he's fine. He's 80 years old in good health, but it gets tougher as you move along. And maybe this one because I couldn't have just gone up there and gone to see him if I wanted to, because you got to get there in quarantine for 14 days and all the BS that comes along with that.
Pesky Canadians.
Yeah. So this one, wait a little bit more, but I guess his hearing aid was working fairly well over the weekend, because I called yesterday and he really couldn't hear me, but I did talk to him Saturday and we had a pretty good conversation.
Did it end up with, "I love you, son. You're always my favorite. Bye, Corky."
That's exactly
Right.
how it
He
ended.
thought it was your
Yeah.
twin brother. There's Philip Barone checking in. I see Philip there at the ballpark. And Little League for the Northwest is in full bloom, full fester, if you will.
There's your Aunt Betty checking
Hi,
in.
Aunt Betty.
Jim Hartman.
See, look, it says Brent grade the umpire skills. He's an awesome umpire, because even at the 12-year-old level, sometimes you're hurting cats. You're getting young kids that they're starting to get a little bit of an emotion to them. They kind of throw a fit on the mound, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Philip kind of keeps the game going along. He's really solid, and it's very enjoyable to watch.
Tom Price checking in.
Any umpire that's been around Little League for any length of time can tell you stories that would just make you chuckle.
Oh,
I mean, because it's just seen it all.
any umpire who's actually been around Little League for a long time has the thickest skin of anybody around, or hasn't endured enough verbal abuse,
Oh,
or is deaf.
because every parent believes their kid's going to get drafted.
Yeah.
Like this kid, he's 11.
And it's always the umpire's fault.
It's the umpire's fault. He's throwing 38 miles an hour. Why are you not?
Chris
He's a
Jansen,
foul
good
baller.
morning to you. Monica
at that
Joe's
crowd.
checking in. Andy Ria Jr. Christina Wise, just trying to catch up, make sure we got every Scott
Let's
Tompkins.
take a little hybrid break, and we have a
Yeah.
guest that is way overdressed for this show. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen's your go-to tow-to. You need to get a car from the side of the road over to Atzenhofer for some work, 578-6300. Ladies, put that number in your phone. Just put A
Hey,
Allen's,
Alan.
and you're good to go. He is it. 578-6300. The VCS companies, Rocket Oilfield Services, and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer, all part of the Hartman communication offering to Victoria.
Still not too late to get Dad a present that he actually wants.
Right. Get him a new iPad. You can get him something he can play his games on. He can play Sudoku on his iPad.
Keep the brain sharp.
Exactly. There's all kinds of different apps for seniors to keep them busy. Out of your hair. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Glass of water. Call it a daycare. It's an adult daycare. It has nothing to do with the Hartman.
Nothing.
The VCS companies, if you need surveillance, surround sound, if you need a security system in your home,
Where you were going with that one.
you can't figure out where I'm going. It's live radio. I'm giddy of different events that happened over the weekend. the VCS companies. Call them Kerr Boulevard. SCT Building Systems. Clayton Helps checked in this morning because he's been up since 4.
564-8864 is the number to call.
They're pouring concrete today. They're pouring concrete every day. Red iron and purlin, whether you need bricks and sticks, steel buildings, he shed, she shed,
Man caves.
whatever you need.
Whatever.
Barn dominium, they do it all. It's a complicated world. They all do. So many folks do metal buildings, but Clayton and Casey Help can help you move, push, and pull, build a building that you need
And do it right.
and do it right the first time. So reach out to SCT Building Systems. Chesnick Furniture Company, 116 West Juan Lynn, the corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge. Been there for 70 years.
Been in business for 100 years, and they're celebrating that 100th anniversary by giving you 50% off all furniture.
Go by, you owe it to your family. You got bedding, Tempur-Pedic bedding, all kinds of appliances, and
Accoutrement.
yes,
If you're looking for furniture, you
That's
will
the place
not
to
be
go.
disappointed at all. From the
There you go.
selection, the quality, and then the price with 50% off, you're
Yep.
just not going to do better.
and real quick,
Anywhere else.
let's take part of what we would normally call our second break and tell you Veracruz today is back open, 576-6015. We don't know exactly what's going to happen going forward, whether we're going to become a mask mandatory city or any of that, but Veracruz is doing thoughtful seating. They're keeping social distance for you. Their staff wears a mask. It's still the best Mexican food in town.
They're still providing to go. They're still providing delivery.
Get there today. JP Hull and the folks at Razor IT Solutions, the keyword there is solutions.
Yeah.
Get down there and let JP help you understand your analytics, understand who's looking at your website, keep the wrong people out of your website, the pesky Russians.
Let the right people in.
That's exactly right. They can help you today. Razor IT Solutions.
There's my beautiful wife Cheryl checking in. Ryan
Cheryl.
Lott, good morning. Bob Watley checking in.
Bobcat, we like Ryan a lot too.
Stephen Kidder was in Austin this weekend. He says there were lots of masks and lots of tents.
Isn't that something? So I've got a buddy, he's a buddy of yours too, but a guy that I really look up to named Will Martin. And Will Martin can be, one of the things that makes Will so enjoyable is that he can be a curmudgeon. You know, he's difficult at times. He's never, what is it? He's often wrong, but never in doubt. But Will is an expert extraordinaire on several subjects. One, that of being a CB, of which he was. Two, or is, he is a CB forever. And two is, I'm probably being too simplistic, but he's the lobbying arm of the nonprofit legal bingo operation in our area. Why don't you come join us, Will? And he knows,
I like how he just sat there and was waiting to see just how he wanted to see.
Introduction. He
Well,
did not
no.
bring his trumpet.
I don't think it was the introduction he wanted. He wanted to see how badly you screw it up.
You've got to talk right into that microphone, but it's easy to do. And
How are you, sir?
Right, I brought a large stick this morning, so I want to stir the pot.
Right? wait.
We got it. In order to stir it, though, you got to get right in front of that thing, and you can hold it up. It's not going to make any noise. There you go. That's better. Much better. Yep, that's more better.
More better.
As Justin Wilson used to say, that's more better.
Take you're long on record, and trust me, with our audience, they're familiar with who you are and your position on all the good that comes in. You know, I don't know anybody anymore. There's bigger fish to fry in the world than being upset with bingo. When I was a kid, it was like, oh, we don't know. Was that good? Are they gambling? What are they doing? But the reality is that all this stuff is state mandated. Take a minute and tell people the issues as you see it, and then clear up some of the misinformation that's been out there.
It's hard to keep this brief when you talk about bingo.
If you see me go like this, you'll know you're doing good.
Bingo is a highly regulated industry. Charitable bingo, let me put it that way. Charitable bingo is a highly regulated industry in the state of Texas. We are regulated by the Texas Lottery Commission. If you don't do exactly as they say, you lose your license and you can't have bingo anymore. One of the things that people think is everybody's getting rich from bingo. Well, let me tell you, nobody gets a salary. I do not get a salary from bingo. I started doing this just volunteering, and it got out of hand, you might say.
Right.
I've been doing it for about 10 years now, and we have seven charities at Charitable Bingo. I know that there's another bingo, All Reno Bingo, and then of course the KCs, they have bingo on Wednesday night. I don't represent just Palace Bingo. I represent the whole bingo industry. I was appointed to the Bingo Advisory Committee of the Texas Lottery Commission, which is a non-paying job. I get $0. So I do things for bingo all over the state: Dallas, Houston, Austin, Victoria, down in the valley. So I'm everywhere. And these people that are jumping up here saying, "Oh, you're trying to make a monopoly out of Palace Bingo." Let me tell you something.
Careful.
I've been doing that for 4 sessions now. When I've got the reverse raffle ticket bill passed in Austin, or bingo now, if you win, they can issue you a lottery ticket, or a raffle ticket instead of money. I didn't get a thank you from any bingo hall except for Palace Bingo and some out of Dallas and some out of Houston. I didn't get nothing here. When I got the bill passed, it says you can have a session that lasts 6 hours. I got a thank you from Palace Bingo, and I got a thank you from the KC Hall. That was it. But the KCs were worried that their volunteers were going to have to work 6 hours instead of 4. So,
Well, do you have people grumbling in the background that maybe you're getting rich off this personally somehow or something?
I guess, but I'm going to tell you something. 100% of all the money that's made at Palace Bingo goes to the charities. If you really want to lose your bingo license with the state of Texas, write an individual a check, and you're out of there. Like American Legion, I'm going to use them for an example. We're nothing but a middleman. The money we get from Palace Bingo, we get a check every quarter, and I'm just going to use this figure. If say we get $10,000 check, we can take that $10,000 and we can pay our utility bills, and if there's a maintenance like a broken down air conditioner.
Because you're one of the charities.
Yes.
American Legion is one of the charities.
We can do it. But if we only spend $5,000 and we don't spend that other $5,000, we'll lose our bingo license. So we take that money and we distribute it out, like to Christ Kitchen, Rushing Winds Fellowship Church that feeds a lot of people and takes care of them. We send it out to all different organizations. As a matter of fact, we've got a pretty hefty check going to long-term project recovery down in Bloomington to help those people down there. So we don't keep the money. It's not like this organization's getting rich or this guy's getting rich. It's just a bunch of people that me and Gary Moses was talking one day with Ron Koshin.
See, you're doing good. Like you were doing really good. It was you and Gary Moses, and then you threw Ronnie in there to kind of brought right back down to just ground level. Yeah.
Well, maybe he's not listening.
He's listening. I guarantee it. We love Ronnie.
Yeah, he says, Will, he's always get accused of stealing money and stuff. I said, Ron, when people start accusing you of stuff like that, I said, that's when you're doing good, so
That's
just
right.
hang in there.
That's right.
It's not just Ron Koshin, but it goes all the way up to county commissioners and county judges, too.
No, they get accused of
When are we
everything.
going to end that crap downtown?
I don't know. They're trying to end it. I tell you what, I don't know. I see so much of it. It's very complicated.
So what brings you in today? What are you trying to clear up?
Well, I was just clearing up there. Everybody was saying, "Oh, y'all got a bill passed, or y'all got this passed," and so now Palace Bingo is getting rich, and poor Reno Bingo, they're not getting rich. Let me tell you something. I worked for right at 10 years to get rid of illegal game rooms in Victoria County.
You did a great job.
But finally, yes, and with a lot of help from the people downtown, and we got it done. I never saw one time where Reno Bingo or anybody else came and said, "Hey, Will, we're in the bingo business too, and them game rooms are really hurting us. What can we do to help you?" None of their charities were up at Commissioner's Court testifying. like we were month after month after month. And I want to tell you, we passed a good ordinance here in Victoria. That ordinance is now the model for the state of Texas.
I believe that. And
By the way, if your air time goes all the way down to Corpus Christi, I'm in Nueces County doing that right now. So if you have a game room down there, you probably need to start looking at your road map where you're going next.
I remember when that was all being discussed, and I was going to pretty much every commissioner's court meeting at that time. And I remember Judge Zeller and the commissioners saying, "We want to create the model. We don't want a quick fix on this. We want to create the model that makes it work." And hats off to all of y'all. And yes, it was that deal of you would get there and they would say, walk up to the mic, citizens forum, and Will would have something to say, and everybody goes, "Oh, it's Will. We're probably going to talk bingo." He go, "Will Martin," he'd give him his address, But every time, you always had your facts right. You always had the numbers that backed up what you were talking about. You were the person that pointed out to me the huge amount of money that was being siphoned out of our community by individuals who weren't intending to do anything wrong. Oh, grandma just likes to go over there and play those 8-liners for 20 minutes for $30, and she wins a roll of toilet paper. And over the days, those are, $3,000 each room per day times 25 rooms. And it was like $2.5 million a month, which is going right out the door here.
Yeah, and those illegal game rooms didn't just affect bingo here in Victoria County. Once that disposable dollar hits there, it's gone from the county. And the restaurants, the movie theaters, any place that people go to spend that disposable dollar, they started suffering too. You saw restaurants closing up, and we were the ones that recognized it and wanted to do something about it. And thank God we had people downtown that listened to the citizens and took action on it.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Will. Appreciate it.
We're gonna bounce along if that's okay.
I'm gonna go back home and eat breakfast.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Tell your sweet
Sounds
hey,
good.
we love you, sir. You
Thanks,
take
Will.
care of
Appreciate
yourself.
it. Bye-bye.
That's a good one right there. He's been around here a long time and tries to keep everybody in line.
Speaking of keeping you in line, if you're looking for a new car,
Oh, that's the best you've ever
Yeah, I
done.
know.
Adds an offer.
as an offer, the only place you need to go if you're trying to buy a new vehicle, pre-owned,
Coming out of the blocks hot on
you need
Monday.
service, paint and body work, they can do it all.
Mr. Segway.
And AssetOffer.com. They've only been doing it since 1926, folks.
Look at that, Ron Koshin. No better man than Will Martin as far as local charities are concerned. There you go.
Jenna West checking in. There's my mom, Tina, checking
Hi,
in.
Tina.
Peter
Hey,
McNally's in early this morning.
What a great group. I'll tell you something that we don't ever take for granted. I love seeing every one of your names when you check in the mornings. And you guys make this fun for us to do. There are so many of you that hold me accountable just by your presence. Like, Ron Koshin, with the Warriors weekend stuff and all that he does, the giving back, just so many folks that look, Jamie Zeller, just so many folks that are smart. We have a very, very highly enlightened audience, and love.
Now you sound like you're patronizing.
I'm not. I don't know how to. I can't even articulate it. You guys are
Appreciate you.
sharp. You're sharp. Jamie Zeller says, "Good morning to Brent and Cash." That's better because he used to be Ass.
Yeah, I'll take cash.
He's Cash now. Benjamin used to call him Ass.
Yeah, I'll take cash.
Nothing
Think
personal.
call worse.
White Trash Services, 550-1826. Reach out to the family of Nelsons over there at White Trash Services.
What did BJ say? BJ said up here somewhere that
Folks,
she got yelled at because she wasn't wearing a mask this weekend.
oh yeah, people want to challenge you. Folks, in this time, you kind of have to go with it because a lot of these folks they're under a lot of stress. They really are. And a lot of us are under a lot of stress that we don't even recognize. And sometimes you're going to see somebody and somebody's going to kind of lash out at you. I have noticed, though, Ash, something Ash brought up well over a month ago. Two things have happened. One, people have quit interacting at the same level because they've got their mask on. You'll say, "Hi, how you doing?" They don't even acknowledge you. I don't like that.
Or if they do, you can't hear them.
And the second thing is people that wear a mask have no problem getting within your 6 foot circle. They'll walk right by you to, excuse me, peanut butter, they'll walk right by you at HEB with no problem whatsoever. So be aware that your social skills have to develop with your mask. There's Dana Moore de la Garza. But reach out to White Trash Services whether you need a roll-off dumpster for a big project or you need trash service in the county. They can come out and help you out. They're in a 6-county region.
Maybe soon they'll be able to provide commercial trash collection service in Victoria.
I don't
the
like
city.
the monopoly. I don't like the monopoly that is currently held, and I also don't buy into the idiocy that we can only have one set of trucks running the streets. That's just stupid. They're all going to the same places. There you have it. GDP text, our buddy Dwayne Proctor,
550-4744. Give Dwayne a call.
So moving along, do we have any, I have mixed emotions. I watched with interest President Trump's rally in Tulsa the other night, and I enjoyed his banter. I noticed that he does it. There was a teleprompter there, but he wasn't fixated on it the way Obama used to be. I just found that I did notice almost immediately that the place.
If he was, he wouldn't give the leftist media, half the opportunities to hammer him as he does.
It was not packed, and I don't know how much of that is COVID.
Well, apparently, a bunch of people on the left reserved all the tickets. I mean, one lady bragged she reserved 300, and then they had no intent to going. And it reminds me of the Chris Tonto. Remember, he was part of the Lyceum series here in Victoria a couple of years ago, and we had a whole bunch of people on the left here in Victoria.
Omar the Gnat
try to scoop up all the tickets. Thankfully, organizers caught wind of it early enough and made alternate arrangements so that people and packed the house. Over close to 500 people went in.
I was there
to see him, and thankfully they caught it. So they tried to pull the same crap in Tulsa. They managed to pull it off.
Yeah.
I mean, still a decent crowd. I also wonder how many people didn't go simply because of COVID issues and concerns on that.
Right.
But it just shows you that the right to peaceably assemble, the right to free speech, means nothing to those on the left unless it's their assembly and you agree with them.
Right.
They will do everything to sabotage your rights and your ability to exercise those rights, as they just showed this weekend in Tulsa.
Well, it's exactly like that chop zone in Seattle. The first thing they did was build a wall. The second thing they did was arm themselves.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that are all about free borders and open borders and defund the police. First thing they did was build a wall and grab guns.
And there was a shooting Saturday morning, early Sunday morning. I think one person killed, another one taken to hospital. I saw footage of their attempts to impede police and EMS from getting in there to render aid. It was then learned that one of their medics took the two victims to the hospital, where one died and the other one, I believe, still in critical condition. But then the idiot city council member who has become their de facto spokesperson in Seattle releases a statement saying that it was a right-wing gunman that went in there and caused the problems. And anybody with half a brain would see right through that, because they have armed guards. They're running very strict border controls from any objective, independent media source that's up there trying to show you what's going on. If you don't think like them, look like them, be like them, act like them, they're not letting you into the chop. So how the hell would a right-wing gunman be able to infiltrate that?
Right.
I'm calling BS on you, lady, because nobody's buying your crap except for the media, who's complicit, and the idiots within your section, within the chop, the chaz, whatever you want to call it, who are going to do nothing but lockstep and repeat the rhetoric that you're spewing. So I'm not buying it that it was a right-wing gunman. because you're not letting right-wingers or anybody with a thought that runs counterculture to what you're thinking into your little zone, into your playhouse.
This Monday morning rant, complete with the word crap used in a sentence, brought to you by Mr. Apocalypse.
I'm not Mr. Apocalypse. The apocalypse is happening in Seattle.
What are we going to do? You know, I keep saying, what about when this happens in Texas? Because this is the deal. Now you'll have somebody in Victoria that says, well, we've got to be like everybody else. The thing to do is we need to have our own chop zone. We need to create a chop zone. I don't know. Seems like everything that happens, we have to do it in Victoria just to show that we're just like y'all, but we're not just like y'all.
CW Bean asking about John Bolton's foolish garbage. You know, a few things with John Bolton that kind of resonate with me.
When a man loves a woman. I like that dude. I liked him better when he had long hair.
Yeah. He's kind of got a Sam Elliott mustache now.
He was more like Fabio back then. John Bolton, former national security advisor, you know who he was? He was advisor to the president. And,
apparently, according to the book, because excerpts have been released ahead of time, of course, right? There's a reason he didn't want to testify during all the impeachment stuff.
Right.
Because he would have ruined his book sales. Because he would have had to spill the beans on everything that's in there.
Nobody knows that Trump published this book.
Yeah. So
he's going to make 50 cents off every copy.
So I have, we'll get to that Jimbo Slice.
He does claim, though, in the book, Bolton claims that the president is a detriment to the country, that he's a problem for the U.S., that he's just fast and loose with all the rules and is a danger to the Constitution.
Well, and I wonder, because he's the guy that wanted to basically nuke North Korea. He's the guy that wanted to go in and blow up Iran.
Correct. Documented and correct. Bolton was the guy that was like, we're not putting up with it. We're going to go, just destroy North Korea.
I have real problems.
Period.
Yes. With somebody who can be in a position like he was in. And then, it took years to declassify information.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff still 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years later, they're finally declassifying stuff
because about Kennedy's death, still under lock and key.
Yeah, you have John Bolton within months of being dispatched from his role as a national security advisor to writing a book telling all of what went on. And
he was probably writing it while he was still employed.
It makes you wonder how many notes he took out of there. And so I've got a real problem with that. And that worries me for future presidents. That you're going to put somebody in a place of utmost confidence and all they're using it for is their personal gain. And they do anyway. They become lobbyists and such. But now you're going to talk about things that really could be used by those who in other countries who have issues with our country to leverage something.
Yes.
And there was an excerpt that came out over the weekend that made me think maybe this was the real reason John Bolton's so mad. He didn't want to be the national security advisor. Because apparently he was being considered for Secretary of State. And President Trump was worried that Rand Paul was going to hold it up. And so he didn't want to fight that battle.
Mm-hmm.
So Bolton becomes NSA.
He found a place. Trump said, I found a place to put him. I put him in there. He didn't perform so well. Though, when you look at it, when you talk about a position of utmost confidence, I'm glib and flippant and like to think of myself as being somewhat witty. If you got to have a bestie, if you and I, if every conversation we had was recorded and then excerpts were taken from that conversation, we wouldn't be on the air very long. There's things we joke about. There's satirical directions we take in conversation and stuff that we would never do on the air. And I'm not talking about being a closet racist or closet misogynist. I'm saying just things that we'll talk about. So-and-so sucks. He can't play, blah, blah, blah. Things that we wouldn't say on the air that in general. And it's like if Trump says something about Kim Jong-un and says, that guy needs to go. The next thing you know, John Bolton's writing a book saying the president really was scheming to assassinate a foreign leader. No, he wasn't necessarily. He just like we have said here on the air, that Kim Jong-un dude needs to go. You can't analyze everything in a vacuum. And,
But you can analyze it in a way that pushes your personal agenda, as we're seeing with John Bolton.
Jimbo Slice, which, by the way, I don't know, folks. I've had numerous ones of you reach out. We don't know exactly what has happened to James Kurth. We don't know exactly. We're at the very least helping structure an intervention. He is now calling himself Jimbo Slice on the show, and I am really regretful that I did not witness firsthand the very fat, naked man running down, I guess it was the Houston Highway over.
Houston Highway at Ben Jordan, right in front of the professional buildings at Citizens, or Ben Wilson, I should say. It was right at that intersection.
I'm real confident that wasn't a doctor or a nurse. No. Is there any chance it was a dean from UHB? No, I don't know what's going on. Somebody was naked running in front. Popeye's got a free plug.
I saw a video of it. Yeah. Anybody who saw the video wasn't stopping at any of the food joints around there after that.
You can't unsee it.
No, it's unfortunate. But
do you think that, just your gut feeling, do you think that he had an issue with the person in that Honda because he was beating on the window, or was it that he was fat jogging down the sidewalk and that car had gotten too close to the street and was impeding his ability to go on through to the sidewalk?
Well, I'm thinking
beating on the window.
I'm thinking the fact that he was naked.
Totally naked, folks. I'm not even any tinny runners on.
No. What do they say? That's usually a sign of meth or one of those drugs, right? That everybody or the fake weed.
Yeah, the what do they call it?
Yeah, I don't even know. Synthetic weed.
Synthetic weed. Yeah, the guy was.
I question whether or not it was meth because
he was too heavy.
He was too heavy to be a meth addict.
Meth heads are skinny.
Yeah.
I saw that last week with that lady that had Honey Boo Boo, or whatever her name was, the Mama June, or whatever they called her. She admitted that she had a $2,500 a day meth habit.
Wow.
Now run that out. That's costing you $75,000. That's $900,000. That's $1 million a year meth habit.
No wonder she was basically whoring out her kid on reality TV. But
crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, they took this guy down in the middle of the Houston Highway, it looked like. And Jimbo Slice says nobody is
fat, sweaty.
It'd be how many, if you defund the police, how many community responders would be rushing for that job, right?
James Kurth be right out there. Just get him down on the ground. Squeal like a pig. Unbelievable. That calls for an unbelievable Steve Kidder. You got a guy running naked down Rio Grande, essentially, or down the Houston Highway, right in front of a Popeyes. Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Peter McNally, Michael Jolly says he lost a Call of Duty match and went insane.
What did my aunt say? Something about Victoria out there.
A Victoria streaker?
Aunt Betty, this was not a streaker. This was a roller. I mean, this was like it looked like slow motion. The ripples moving. At Popeyes, they'd have to douse that dude down with some flour.
Stephen Kidder asks, "Where's the Ray Stevens song when you need it?"
Right? Don't look, Ethel. Too late. That's pretty good. That was a good one.
Oh man!
Look at that! Look at that!
Yep. Naked and afraid.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I've been through some tough times. I've had some emotional, breakdowns, if you will. I've never said the way to solve this problem is to strip naked and run down a public street. First of all, I guess I'm just too self-deprecating. I'm like, if you're bragging about that, son, put some clothes on. I ain't running down the street naked.
No, he definitely had a dick do.
This guy had done no manscaping either.
Adam Dodgers says, let's get naked and run through the quad.
Right? Everybody's doing it. You know, my wife would say, get in the car, much as Will Ferrell's. That was really funny. Oh, hey, honey, we're running through the quad. Wow.
Yeah. That
And then
was,
he gets in the car and the neighbor lady goes, really? And he goes, it's cold out there.
but in all seriousness, though, I credit Victoria Police Department. There were no tasers deployed.
Nope.
First of all, you probably didn't want to shoot one and fry something off you didn't want to fry
Exactly.
off.
It's like, it's smoking. Yeah, he was subdued. And apparently it didn't appear that he resisted arrest much.
No, and he looked a little combative.
Well, the man was naked. He'd kind of given up. He didn't
Yeah.
have a lot left.
But
I ain't got no place else to go. Come on, Mayo, get in the car. You're going back to the base.
you're worried about COVID, and then there's this guy running naked.
You know, it would have been rich if he'd have had a mask on. Now, that would have been a good look if he's buck naked with a mask.
Worried about spreading COVID. Hey, Homer Lopez checking in. Good morning to you, Homer.
Good morning, Chief. And it's a good time to tell you folks, you can listen to Magic at magic95victoria.com. We appreciate you
Click
checking
the
in on
listen live
Facebook.
button. It's that easy.
It is that easy. There's
Alexa,
also- you can
ask
say, "Hey,
Alexa to open up Magic 95.
Absolutely. Homer and his family have been extremely good to us. Homer, don't look at your watch, but we've been here over 3 years. Sneaking up. November, we will have been on the air for 4 years. It
Crazy.
is
Who'd have
crazy.
thought?
Nobody thought.
No, nobody.
The things you think would never change, sometimes they change. So
I'll tell you what doesn't change. The great barbecue you're going to get at Uncle Mutt's.
we had it yesterday, folks. I had some pea salad. I get it by the quart now. Pea salad. We had Uncle Mutt's rice. We had the coleslaw. We ordered some brisket and some turkey. The turkey was just it's so moist. It's
Moist?
so good. Yeah, there's nothing worse than you get white meat and it wants to fall apart. Jonathan just has this down. to
Fall
an
apart
art.
because it's dry.
Right, exactly. It's like dust. You have to put the gravy on it to hold it together. Reach out to Uncle Mutt's. It is just fantastic.
Like hospital food.
I'm telling you, the line at Uncle Mutt's, they are carving it after you order it. And the line at Uncle Mutt's moves as quick as the line at Chick-fil-A. And I'm not exaggerating. It moves. Get in there.
All the sides,
Fantastic.
all the meat groups. It's awesome.
Brisket, ribs, chicken, sausage, turkey.
It's all there. It's
Ribs.
all awesome.
No tofu. Can't smoke tofu.
You could deep fry it.
You could. I might have had some fried pickles at the brown bag on Saturday. Just saying. Great Barn Design. Reach out to Cheryl for your next event, 920-6803. 920-6803. Cheryl will help your event be memorable. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than giving somebody your ideas and saying, I kind of want this, and I want this atmosphere, and I want that. And then you get to show up and enjoy the party. Instead of being the one that shows up and goes, oh, I wish that tablecloth was 4 inches longer. Let Cheryl take care of that. You show up and actually attend your party. It's a lot more fun. I've done it both ways. It's a lot more fun to be like, somebody says, man, this place looks great. And you go, yep, Cheryl did it.
And
920-6803.
and little extras. She got a nice note from the last event she did that thanked her for cleaning up when they were after they tore down the decorations.
Absolutely. That's part of the deal. That's why you hire a big time party planner, and she is great. Corporate
Very good at what
events,
she does.
weddings.
And she's kind of hot.
She's going to do my funeral. Yeah, she'll show up at the event. Of course, if you have an open bar, be careful because her swamper, one Ashley Wade, is sometimes he drinks a bit. But other than that, just to throw in one extra bottle of Jameson and have them as your guests as well. Went Services, folks. Went Electrical, Went Services. Folks, whether you need, it is generator season. You need a generator, period. But on top of that, you can be proactive and have solar panels put in, solar panels that go back and store into a battery
I
pack.
like how you just did that and de-escalated the fear that comes with hurricane season.
Right.
It's
Don't be
generator
afraid.
season.
It's generator season. Get a part of it. So Wind Services will come out. They'll give you an estimate of what it'll take. They'll tell you how they would do it, where they would position the panels. If you have some property, it may be better not to put them on your home. It might be better to put them out in the field. You can put them up high enough your cows can huddle down underneath them because cows like shade. Do it. Reach out to Wind Services today. I see Adam Daughtry, and Adam, it is the elephant in the room. You got to say something, and I'm going to be kind here. Adam Daughtry says Chris Cobbler, ?
Change over the weekend.
Yeah, news coming out on Friday. Typical Advocate, they fire people on Fridays. That's what they do. It's so old school and monotonous. But Chris Cobbler, according to him, financial issues escalated by COVID have led to the elimination of his position. He was a longtime editor, been here 13 years, longtime editor, and most recently was editor and publisher. And it reminds me of the old adage of, hey, we're not saying it's your fault. We're saying we're going to blame you. I think it's short-sighted on the part of the Advocate to get rid of somebody that has been an editor and publisher. And I'm telling you that no matter what Chris made, it's not putting a dent in the Victoria Advocate's financial woes. And I think it's unfortunate that anybody in that position loses their job.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
That's the hard part.
It's tough for people, and I wish them well.
Absolutely, well documented. There's no humor here. That well documented that I've had my backs and forths with the Victoria Advocate, but personally don't wish Chris anything but the best, and can tell you that I don't think that this is going to stop the downward spiral of the second oldest newspaper in Texas.
And they made changes in East Texas as well, get rid of the longtime editor there as well. And so, I mean, it was a reshuffling, which tells me they're you're bailing on the Titanic, just get your bucket and get in line. Adam Daughtry says he's got to put solar panels on his kids to store all that energy.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
Chris Cox says they turned around and replaced him a day later. Well, you've got to have somebody in charge. Yeah, it can't be a rudderless ship. I mean, any organization, when the Astros fired AJ Hinch, they hired Dusty Baker. I mean, you've got to have somebody in charge. They didn't hire, if you notice, though, they didn't hire an editor publisher. They hired a general manager.
Right, and the Advocate locally had I think it's George Coleman had him on staff already, and brought him. There's a new guy in the Longview area named John. He had a really nice, and I'm sorry I don't remember his name. He had a really nice resume of writing national stories. Had won several awards, and looked
from upstate New York.
Looked like a nice guy. I mean, it's newspaper business is tough. You hear us talk about it here often. It's tough. I mean, it's the printed page.
I find it interesting, and this is just not a knock locally, but as industries as a whole. I can recall going back to my days in college when AM radio, everybody was saying AM radio was dead. Mm-hmm. And radio as a whole was dying because everything was starting to be satellited and
to rush
and everything was done out of New York City, and then they beam it all over to all the markets, and that was going to kill local radio. And the biggest industry that kept pushing that narrative was the newspaper industry because they were a competitor. And it's interesting to see how radio has adapted and managed to survive. And the industry out of the media that is really struggling, and some say on his deathbed, is the newspaper industry. And TV is very close behind. If you look at maybe not the entertainment side and the live sports side, but certainly the way news is delivered via CNN, it's struggling. So I find it interesting.
Since you opened that door, I'll walk through it and tell you this. I think that there's a certain a tactile nature to actually holding the newspaper in your hand. Many cities used to have a morning and an evening edition in an effort to get you the most pertinent news in a timely manner. I've always had the opinion that you should not rush to be first. You should rush to be the first that actually knows what you're talking about. And I have found personally,
that's the CNN effect.
Yes, I have found personally that our local paper was always in a quest to be first. Even if you go to their digital platform, cop shoots kid. This is all we know at this moment. Well, okay, so you're predisposed. You're given information that makes your mind lean. Oh, we're in the same problems as New York. The reality is that there is no logic. Everything that we need in our daily lives, we do right here. 90% of us do on our device, our cell phone. The idea that you still get a printed newspaper at your house is somewhat archaic. I mean, but as Brother Gary is in the lobby, he said, but your parents like that. As this generation, the generation that was probably born between 1935 and 1950, as that generation begins to ebb, you will see fewer and fewer printed newspapers. If I'm going to read the Wall Street Journal, I'd much rather read their online version. The key is credibility. If you've got something and that is a problem because anybody can put anything on the air at any time. I mean, you and I could do what we call a news show, put it on YouTube, and it's out there. And once it's spoken, you can't take it back. We could be misinformation junkies, So I'm hopeful that it all works out. The printed page will go soon. I have so many. I could write a book about the discrepancies I had with the Victoria Advocate, and they would be right. But it's not really the issue. They've sealed their own fate. But on that personal level, I do feel sorry. Not sorry. I feel for Chris. He wouldn't want you to feel sorry for him. He's had a great run. He's been in media for 40 years. And like I said, Batman needed the Joker. Make no mistake about it. And I wish him the best. And don't worry.
bounce back.
Chris Halper will land on his feet. He's a smart guy. So,
Folks,
Godspeed, Chris.
Top of the hour. We got to run, Brother Gary, Ralph, sitting here just chomping at the bit to get in here on a Monday morning. Happy belated Father's Day to all the dads in the audience.
Yep.
And we'll see you all tomorrow.
Be well.
Bye, folks.
Bye, Victoria. That hurt. It hurt. You get over it. Right? Well, I do remember telling him when all that stuff was down, he said, well, we just told him the way we saw it. I told him, wherever you're going. Yeah. No, there's no doubt. And I actually did feel bad for him when everybody gets fired. Well, you think about it. Nobody, very few people have owned their house outright. Oh yeah, no, it's very. He'll just start to go forward. See Chris Calver in Victoria, donate now. That's what it'll be. See, he'll start to go funding now. See Chris in Victoria, donate now. I think Victoria.
I know he said we're going to sponsor her.
When was that guy running around Macon?
Yesterday,
Shortly after 8 o'clock, somewhere around there. Evening, still light.
Come to think of it, he looked a little bit like Gary Moses. No, this guy was heavy set and naked.
I was thinking when you said, he put that thing on track. I said, well, he could have just
First time you did that. Well, I think so. Even though I know he's with Phil with the best person, the guy has. Yeah, I think didn't listen to anything over there, but 11 years I was doing the good job in San Antonio. I think like this is
and Joe works for the police station. Well, is it good? Yes, sir. Let me all let you do well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, you have the name right now? He does. He does. He does. I couldn't do the one. I couldn't take that. All the boys. And they hold the bottom of the 19. 17 and 1, and they hold the bottom. The three guys get up there. If you used to hit the third batter, it would be 3 up, 3 down, and the ninth. So we got to go out there. What's that? That clock? Is it locked on? Yeah, it's that. The other one's like the 30 or so. So they see one here. So they see one here, and we're pretty good. Oh, yeah. Whoa! The Lord, you did it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, buddy. See you later. Like we're going. Just leave it there.